Yeah.
Cynthia, hey, congratulations on your short film, The Legend of El Cucuy. I think
Thank
I'm
you so much.
pronouncing that correctly.
100% correct. Yes.
I know last night I was talking to my friend and I was trying to get it the pronunciation right and I kept on saying El Cucci and she said no, that's not how you pronounce it. So
That's a different thing.
yeah, she told me it was a different thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
more of a congratulations. Hey, it's being showcased at the Slamdance Film Festival really, really soon. I want to say in a few days. So that's one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world. I mean, how do you feel about that?
A little shock. I think it started sinking in this week. I was coming off of a feature. We shot a feature in December, and so it was all about the feature. I couldn't even I was like, oh wow, we made it in, but I'll deal with that after we, complete shooting. And so really over the last couple of weeks, it's been like, oh my God, we're going to Slam Dance. I mean, just complete gratitude and shock, a little bit of shock. Yeah. So, a little bit of, oh my goodness, so many more people are probably going to see it. And, I hope they love it. And, that kind of thing too. When you're putting yourself out there, there's always some nerves that go along with, screenings, especially at this level. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the great news is that you beat out not hundreds but thousands of other films that tried to get into that film festival, and
Yeah.
so to be just chosen as one of them it's really a reward by itself. So, Cynthia, tell we have to ask is what sparked you to make this short film in the first place?
Well, I have a mental health background. I worked in mental health for 15 years. I have a master's in psychology. And so, I worked a lot. I actually just recently left the field, but we worked a lot with trauma, talked a lot about, intergenerational trauma and the effects of that. And at the time when I wrote the movie, I was dealing with some loss. I mean, my oldest daughter was moving out of the state, and she was leaving to, give her children a better life. And I made decisions as mom, to give my children a better life. We moved out to like the suburbs and stuff like that, a very, family oriented town, different from like the city that I grew up in. And so I started thinking about all of the things that we do as parents, to kind of change things because we always want to do better, right? And so Laura, the main character, she really came out of that. And she talks about the own trauma that she underwent with her family and how she really wanted to do things different, to raise her child different. And we hear a lot of that, right? Like, I'm not going to spank, I am going to spank, how long is a timeout, that. So the question of how much discipline is enough and how much is too much, just trying to balance that, especially as children of immigrants. My parenting was a lot different than my father's, but his was a lot different than his father's also, so all of those kind of things jumbled in together, are where the story came from. I think it wasn't as, dramatic as, you know, um, a child, losing a child. But when my daughter left, I was really sad. She used to live a mile and a half from me, and then to be, in another state, and we'd never been apart. There was some grief that went along with that.
Hmm. So how did this translated into that horror genre for this?
The Kukui, it was a little bit of a challenge for me because I write normally drama. I do really dab into mystical realism and pretty much everything I write. There's always an element of that in there. And so I was talking to my husband, and I was like, I really want to, write something, a horror. I want to write a horror. And he's like, I'm like, but I'm just at a loss at where to start. And he goes, well, what's the scariest thing that you could think of. And the scariest thing that I could think of is losing a child. And so it all kind of came together like that, you know what I mean? And I grew up with the Cucuy and La Llorona, and so he kind of popped in my head, and then I started doing a ton of research on him. He has an element of I love this character. It was really hard actually to put him in the category of an evil person because I loved him as a man, and the movie definitely goes into his origin. I love origin stories just to begin with, but um, you know, because I've been sober 22 years, the element of alcoholism was something that made me feel pretty bad for him because alcohol makes us monsters. Our children see us as monsters, and so yeah, that's how he was born. But I have a lot of love for that character, as evil as he is.
Now, is it the story that you created for Kukui in your film? What is that? Is that the actual origin story, or you have to create your own narrative?
There's aspects of the origin. So there are those who say that he lost his children and that he made a mistake basically, and that's how he lost his children. I added uh time period, the alcoholism, you know, how the way that the legend things that I read, the children did not do what they did in my movie. So there are some pieces that are for sure the truth, the legend, but I gave it a little more life. And in the feature, we go a little bit more into depth, about that origin.
Yeah, I mean there is something about this, the Mexican lore, the mysticism of Kukui or Lorona and so on, because it's all about grief and the loss of children.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And if you just look at the person before they were the monster, right? It's kind of like maybe you might feel a tad bit of empathy for them, you know what I mean? So that was definitely something that I struggled with in writing the feature because in my heart I really want him to have some redemption, but some things you just can't come back from.
Now,
So
now, how did you want to approach the film? Because I guess you wanted to create a one part as the period as talking about the legend and also the present time
yeah.
at the same time, where in the present we don't really believe in those stories anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, she kind of makes fun of him. She makes fun of her husband for, that and sees scaring children um, by telling them the boogeyman's going to get them kind of thing as being abusive, being traumatic, being something that could really hurt, and I mean, for my generation, we didn't even know what the word trauma meant. Like, we're learning so much about that in this day and age. And so I surely didn't tell. I didn't tell my kids that the Kukui was going to get them. Just realized something. But I used to tell them that if they don't clean their rooms, like spirits live in the piles of clothes. So I guess I did it in my own way. Yeah, I did do that.
I guess that is a parenting 101 there.
Yeah, right. Right.
I also love the fact that on the present day you created a mixed family household as a representation. We don't usually see that a lot on screen, especially in a bilingual setting.
Yeah. It's something that I really pride myself in. I've been able to do that in a lot of the films that I've done, um, because I am an Afro Latina, and this story is, like originated in Portugal, went through Spain, and then ended up in Mexico. It's not really thought as a Afro Latin kind of story or whatever, and so it's been interesting. I had some people question why I was telling the story. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
why I was telling the story, it's like my dad's Mexican, you know what I mean? I lived in Mexico for a year, and we visited throughout my lifetime. But I think that that's part of the misconception that all Latinos are exactly the same. And so it was really important for me to cast Dee as an Afro Latin. She's Dominican, and so she wouldn't know. If you talk to people from different parts of Latin America, they have different boogeymen. You know what I mean? They're not all the same, and so, but for for the father, he did know about it, and so I thought that that was a great way to show how different and yet how similar we are.
Yeah, that was well done. That was a well thought out, family for
Thank
the
you, thank you.
um. Tell us about the production for the past Mexican period. What was it a difficult shoot?
That was it was not difficult. I feel like it was, inspired divinely because, initially, I had him living in, like, a small town, with, like a not like a Western town kind of, and as I was looking for locations, I found that beautiful house that we shot in, and, I became friendly, with the owner, and it's a enormous, property with avocado fields and lemon fields, and it's I mean it's beautiful. You could see in the movie how stunning it is. I wanted to spend all of my time there, and he was just so gracious. And that property was built when United States was still Mexico. Like his family arc out, they were here before the United States took over Mexico. So I really wanted to shoot it in Mexico. Like that was where my heart was, and to find this house, he let us, hang that Mexican flag in front of his house. You know what I mean? It was just something really, really, really special about that. He
Well,
was great.
that
Yeah.
that that is that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you in the case for Kukui, did you use limited makeup or mainly CGI to portray?
We did not use any CGI.
Okay.
We just used Soul makeup, and Sam Coda was the makeup artist. She was a one-woman show. I have no idea how she was able to do that. I didn't understand even the magnitude of prosthetics until I saw it being done, and the fact that she had his makeup to do and everybody else's, and to be on set. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot to expect out of anybody, but she did it, so um, you know, more money, more time. I have ideas about how I would like him to look with some, makeup and VFX like mixed together. But, we'll have to wait for the feature for that.
So there are thoughts of doing a feature down the road for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the script, and I hope to, find people who are interested in developing it. I mean, it's there and it's ready to go. So, it's just about timing and finding the right, person. But I think it would make a great feature.
That
Yeah.
that is terrific to hear. Now, Cynthia, about yourself, because you used to work in a different field before directing this short film. Tell us about the journey into this
Mm,
industry. I mean, this is not an easy industry to break into.
no, it's not. I wanted to be an actress when I was younger. I used to sing. I used to act on a lot of theater. And I mean, from the first moment went into a theater and watched my first movie, I knew I wanted to be a part of that. It just everything the way, and I was really young. I was like 7 years old,
Mm.
and so, but life happens, and I had children at a young age, and things just took a different turn for me, which I have absolutely no regret. I'm actually, you know, in my second act, I think, all my kids are gone, I mean, they're all, older and have their families and stuff like that. And so now I was able to, focus on what I really wanted to do. I finished my master's, and I told my husband, well, he went back to school for his MBA, and he said, I said, oh my God, I'm going to be so bored, because I knew the amount of work that goes into having a master's. And so I started writing, and I've been so blessed to have people come into my life that have been nothing but encouraging. Like, I've gone back and read the very first script that I wrote. It looks like a novel. It's so embarrassing that I gave that to like a professional, somebody who was working in the field as a producer at an actual like studio. And they weren't like, they encouraged me to keep writing. They said, you have a voice, you have a strong voice, take some classes, just in a very gentle, loving way. They have read, those two women have read countless scripts, versions, renditions of different scripts and stuff. And they've never made me feel bad. Like, you could really crush somebody's dream if you're not kind. And there are some people in the industry that are like, you're never going to make it in this town or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's how it happened. I wanted to write, and then it just, got into different groups, met different people, have a couple amazing mentors, and I took a director's class with a group called Women of Color Filmmakers, and I got into the lab. Actually, it was a 6-month program, and they you took your script from script to screen, and that's where I didn't even know what a director did. I'm still learning what directors do, right? So I told her, I'm like, I don't think I want to be a director, and she's like, never say never. And once I got in there, I'm like, oh man, it's like all the color came into my life in terms of work, and I've thought it over the years about the fact that I am a creative person. I like to do things that are, including music and stuff like that. And so it makes sense for me to be doing this. Leaving the field was not easy. I'd been at my agency for 15 years. I was training, facilities across the nation and soon across the world. So I gave up, stability and stuff like that to do this, full time. And so it's a little scary, but I guess people say, my heart, like, I just could not go back there another day. Like, you know what I mean? I'd rather, find some freelance stuff, which is what I'm doing now, and then have the freedom to be on set or write or talk with you. you know? Yeah.
So what's up next with you? Are you going to elevate? Because I know you have at the helm, you've done a few short films. Do you
Mhm.
you want to make that next important step into the feature film realm pretty soon?
Yeah, that's what I did this year. We shot a feature rom-com, We're Not Married. It's a movie about two couples that get married on a whim and then find out that they're not married 10 years later. And so we kind of see them navigate, what they want to do next. It's very funny. And it was really nice too, because I watched a lot of horror, like for the first part of the year last year, a lot of horror. And so it was nice to start, I like rom-coms anyways. It's just different. I love the idea that we challenge ourselves to do different things, like, dramas, comedy. I don't believe that anybody needs to stay in one specific, genre. But you can if you love it. But
Hmm.
for me, it's been a challenge to learn. Comedy is hard. It's hard to direct, right? As is horror, but they're kind of similar in a way. But yeah, so that is in post. It is. I'm very excited about that. And then I hope to. I have about 6 scripts written. Like, I have content. It's just now about connecting with the right people. That's the next step. So, but I feel like I'm kind of uh, walking with the blindfold on. Like I'm not really sure what, I know what I'd like to happen, and I'm prepared for with content, but it's just about whoever comes along the way and believes in that stuff too. So yeah.
Well, completed productions is its own reward, and you'll be heading. Hopefully, you'll be heading to Park City to sit in an audience to get their reactions, and that too is its own reward. So.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Cynthia, thank you very much. I've taken a lot of your time already. Thank you for this conversation about the Legend of El Cucuy. I mean, it is fascinating, and you know what? Maybe we'll talk again and on the longer version, and
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
see.
bring you out to the premiere. We'll say, remember when we talked about it? Here it is now.
Yeah, crossing fingers. Let's
That's
do
figured.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Cynthia.
Thank you. Bye bye.